Well, good morning, everybody. Sean LaRue here at Lowell Ranch. Hope that you are having a fantastic day. It's a nice rainy day, so good day for some indoor projects. So I'm just going to make a couple things today, and wanted to bring you guys along. Okay, so I think that I talked about these feeders in a previous video, and it was one where I was talking about a mixed flock and mixed herd, whatever you want to call it, but had a way to feed the chickens and turkeys and stuff when there's other animals around. So actually, since that time, I've started using these a lot. So right now, just sitting out here in this pasture, I have one. You can see it's on a block. And there's a rooster over there that was getting some food out of there. But this has become really nice because it's a nice way to just give some feed to the animals. In a bulk fashion. It's weather tight, so like when it rains like it did all night last night, the feed is still dry inside. And so I've just been using these a ton because I only fill this up like once a week, and it gives them a little something. You can see there's no chickens around, right? So there's some turkeys over there. The turkeys were eating out of here. Usually I'll see the chickens and the turkeys and stuff right at sun up. They're over here, they get a little snack, and then I usually don't see them there the rest of the day because they're out all over. I don't even know where the chickens are right now. They're somewhere. But anyways, I'm gonna just go ahead and show everybody how I make these, and then you can do it yourself. So, hey guys, did you want some attention? You gonna walk up there and show everybody how you eat out of it? Or did you just want to be on camera? Here we go. They just wanted to be on camera. All right, so here's the things you're gonna need to make a bucket feeder. Definitely gonna need a 5-gallon bucket. You can get these at Home Depot, at Lowe's, or your local True Value. Definitely the one in Lake Hills is fantastic if you're in the Bandera, Lake Hills area. The Bandera one is great as well, so I get a lot of their buckets. You're gonna need a lid. So depending on the use, so this is just a regular standard lid. If it's just sitting out with chickens or turkeys, this lid is gonna be fine. Sometimes if it's gonna be around other animals, it might get knocked over. You want a more secure fit, more watertight. You can get the paint one that's actually thicker, and it has like a plastic ring in here, creates a better seal. It's harder to get on and off, but definitely better. Okay, then you're gonna get 3 of these 90-degree elbows. And we're gonna modify these here in just a minute, but that's what they're gonna stick their head through. I have a Sharpie that's needed to mark some holes, some caulking, just some clear white, it doesn't matter, type of caulking. Sometimes I use E3000 as well, but this is just what I had laying in the garage. Hasn't been opened yet, so we're gonna use that. Then a drill with a hole saw. I think this is hold on just a second. I should have checked. Yeah, so this is a 3 5/8 inch hole saw. 3.5 is perfectly fine. Just has to be wide enough for that elbow to slip through there. Not too big that this part goes through, but big enough that this part goes through. So this is a 3 5/8, seems to work really good. And then something for cutting your PVC elbows, I'm just gonna use a Sawzall. All right, so we're gonna get started here. I got some helpers with me. They're curious what's going on. All right, so we're gonna start out with these elbows, and let me see if I can get this closer to the camera. So what we wanna do is we want this side to stay on. So this is gonna go in the bucket. This is gonna be on the outside where they stick their head through. This is what's gonna create our seal on the bucket. And then on the other end, we need to cut this off. We gotta cut it off right here, not below here, because if you cut it off below here, this ring will not get through the hole. So we need to cut it off right there, and you can see that makes it flat. So when they stick their head in, then they can get to the feed at the bottom. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So I use a Sawzall. So just like that. Doesn't have to be perfect, right? So the chickens don't care. But now when this is sitting in there, you can see it creates a nice 90. It doesn't have to be a perfect 90. Doesn't matter. The feed's gonna be at the bottom and they'll be able to get to it. Forgot one thing. We need to mark the bucket. So I found when marking the bucket, the best thing to do is take one of these before you cut it and set it down, and just like that, and mark the bucket right there. And that's where you're gonna drill the center of your hole. So if you think about it, when it's up there, if this is kind of where the center is, I'm cutting this off right there, right? So that's gonna leave, you know, a good amount of room for some feed at the bottom, right? If I did it this way, still would be the same if I put it right there, because it's really a 90 going over. So it doesn't matter if you do it before you cut it or after you cut it, but just don't put it with this side down for the measurement. If you've cut it already, do it with that side down. And my mark is in the exact same spot as I did with the other one, right there. The mark's in the exact same spot. But if I did this, mark's in the exact same spot, whether I use the elbow either way. This one, if I use the elbow that way, it would be too low. Okay, so mark it before you cut it, or after you cut it, make sure that the flange side is down for your mark, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and make those marks. You want them about, you know, evenly spaced all the way around. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it on how far that is. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Chickens don't care. With a white bucket, I can look on the inside, I can see my marks and see if they're about equally spaced apart. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these other two elbows. If you've got some big PVC cutters, you could use that as well. I don't have any of mine. The largest mine go is to 2 inches, so it doesn't work for these. Oh, by the way, these elbows are 3-inch DWV, so it's the same thing as 3-inch Schedule 40. This is just the foam core instead of the solid core, but 3-inch elbows. All right, that's all done. I'm just gonna take my bucket and my hole saw, and I'm just gonna drill holes in the bucket. Okay, so there's the bucket, 1, 2, 3. So why only 3 holes and not more? Well, you'll see in a minute when we put those in, 3 is about as many as you can get. If you had a bucket that was a little bit wider around, you might be able to get a few more than that. You can take a knife or something if you want, kind of clean off some of the debris around the holes, and that will help when you use your caulking or your sealant, just to make a good connection there. So I usually just take a pocket knife and go around the inside. I can get most of it out. Kind of go at a little bit of an angle, and then you get the stuff that's on the side. But you can see how all of that's a lot cleaner hole rather than all that debris on there. Not a lot. You're not trying to take off more plastic. plastic, just trying to clean up the hole. All right. Make sure you get everything out of the inside so your bucket's nice and clean. All right, so then these are going to go in just like this, and now it creates that, and on the inside looks like that. All right, and there's still a space between the bottom of that elbow and the ground where they can reach their head in, and they actually just reach their head in. My hand can't fit through, but they reach their head in, and then they can get the feed that's at the bottom. And so where this goes in, you can see the 90 does not go in all the way, but it comes up nice. And then we're just going to do caulking all around here to hold it in place, but also seal it from water getting in. So that's real important. So sorry, I realize I can't seem to figure out how to do the camera where I get myself in there, plus everything else. So I apologize, but so that's what we're going to do. You can go ahead and clean out the inside of these elbows as well. Just get the loose plastic pieces off. That way there's none there that they're just like pecking at and ultimately end up eating. All right, so before I glue these in, let me show you the inside here. So I've got all three in here, and you can see, you know what's gonna happen. You can see how they're spaced. So really not room for more than that. You might be able to get a fourth one in there if you perfectly placed them, but right now that's about what you get is three. But you know what, you might be able to get a fourth. I just haven't tried it. If you had a wider bucket, you can definitely get more in there. So main thing when you put those in, make sure that they are all straight. You don't want them tilted. So like for instance, when you glue them in place, you don't want it like that, right? Because then they can't get their head down to the feed. You want to make sure it's pointing down. And so I'm going to put the caulking around, and then I'm going to make sure that they're all facing down. I'm going to put the caulking around, and then you got to let it dry. So not really move it around, just let it dry for a while. Okay, so here's what that caulking looks like when you put it on there. You can see you just got it nice there in the groove. It's going to seal nicely in there. So what I usually do is I'm going to do the tops of all of these. So I'm going to go around and do the top and down the sides. I'm going to let it cure a little bit, and then I'll flip it over so that I can do the bottom side. But again, I don't want these to move, right? And you can even see in that hole, see how it's going to go down there, and they're going to be able to get the feed from the bottom. And the feed will just gravity. So whatever's on top, as they eat from the bottom, it'll just keep going down. So important that you don't get these off from being 90 degrees. So that's why I'm gonna do the tops on all of them, then come around and do the bottoms. All right, well, that's it for today. Thanks for checking in. Hopefully that was helpful to you. And you get to see how to build that. As you can see, super easy. I mean, I think it's like a, you know, maybe a 10, 15 minute project. And I tell you what, on the farm, when you find something that works, that's good, then you just use it over and over and over again. And just like the auto waterers that I've shared and I talk about all the time, they have been lifesavers. Like the, you know, the little giant plastic valve for tanks, and then the chicken nipples on a 5-gallon bucket for chickens. I'm telling you, I use those everywhere because it works and they don't wear out and they don't break, and it's awesome. And so the same thing with this feeder. I made one, and then I just started using them everywhere because they're so great for the chickens. Not with baby chicks, but once the chickens or turkeys are adults, then I use those all the time. So hopefully that's helpful to you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Love to have you guys follow us along on our journey, and let me know if this was helpful. Talk to you later. Bye.